Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Before we even start here, I'm going to say it. This could get a little woo-woo for some, but have an open mind because a lot of this can change your life, what we're going to talk about today. And on his website, it says it all right on the homepage. You're always one decision away from a new reality. Sometimes we don't make those decisions because we get very analytical, very logical, and we don't go with our intuition and our gut, which is supporting us, whether you believe it or not. Why do you do that? Why do we do that? We're going to talk about that today. He is somebody that helps people all the time move their lives forward. He's just an amazing spiritual path life coach, and he's Judd Fink. He's back with us. How you doing today?
Good, Steve. I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And I put this disclaimer out there when we say spiritual path coaching is what you offer. Spiritual, I see the word in back of you twice.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about religion. Can it be? Sure, if you want it to be. Yeah, if that's
Sure.
that's fine.
If that's your thing, yeah.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that today.
No.
So let's talk about the analytical part of us.
Okay. All right. So when we're using our analytical mind, that is actually coming from a place of needing to control, which is actually coming from a place of fear. It's fear-based. And because we're trying to drive in a certain direction based on what we desire, right? But when we're actually coming from a place of love with our hearts and we're listening to our intuition, that's how things actually work out because you're letting go of that control and you're just letting things flow. So when we're trying to be in control of things, that's what leads to disappointments, getting upset when it doesn't work out and doing all these things. And we're just hurting ourselves actually in that process. And we're not open to we find ourselves often not open to other people's opinions or, criticisms or whatever when we're trying to control things because we're wanting what we want. We want this result. We want this, and also you might not have patience in that process either. You want what you want now, and when you're trying to drive and control, right? You're just really setting yourself up for a lot of disappointment or failure if it doesn't go the way that you think it should go, rather than just letting go of the control and letting things flow and trusting that things are going to work out. That is really loving yourself and trusting your intuition, to put the things in place, trusting the universe to put the things in place that are supposed to be in place in front of you. And you'll get the signs and everything through that process. And I know it's hard to let go of that, but once you do, you'll see. I mean, you'll see it all, but it's being in alignment. It's the heart and brain coherence. And there is balance in that. There's a definite balance. You can't be all woo woo and all analytical. They both definitely serve their purpose, but it's just being in alignment and letting those things flow equally.
How do you get there? I've been there. I've done that. I know what you're talking about. Very clear to me. I was that person that would be analytical, think about things, I don't want to say take risks or chances, but just not trust my intuition and my gut.
Mm-hmm.
Then I finally started feeling more comfortable with it. But I'm work in progress. I'm still not there. I still analyze things a little bit.
Sure.
I don't come from that full space of, there's a lot of trust there, but it's a work in progress. But how do you even start that journey?
But you start the journey, I believe, through meditations and showing up for yourself and just, and developing that intuition and developing that trust because like I said, you will get the signs. You just have to acknowledge them. And it's through meditation practices. It's through breath work. It's through grounding. It's through all of these things and just letting these things flow to you and remaining consistent for yourself. And that's through diet, exercise, using the sunlight, vitamin D, getting all of that, and just really taking care of yourself. And doing all these things in a structured manner in one day really doesn't take that long at all.
Mm-hmm.
You might think that it does because it's a life change, right? Because we over perceive things like, oh, we can't do that. Well, if you say that you can't do something, you are correct. If you say that you can do something, you are also correct. At least you're giving yourself a shot saying that you can do something, but it's just that consistency. And when you're developing your intuition as well, it's going to develop, third eye and just whatever it is to you, like whatever your gifts are going to be amplified because everybody has them, through that process that you're just going to discover more of.
Mm.
But it's just remaining consistent and patient with yourself because it's not something that, is just going to light switch turn on, your intuition, that connection, it can definitely be there. But it's through these practices and really taking care of yourself and loving yourself is how that balance comes through. And,
Do you feel it's also the experience after a few times of interpreting something that you got from your gut, your intuition, and then trusting it, and then it worked out for the better. Oh, that worked out for the better. Or for me, it was the reverse engineering of it. It was seeing me not trusting it, and it went bad, or it didn't go the way. And that was the wake up. I would hear things, I would feel things, and go the other way, and I was like, that was and major life decisions. I can go back. I got them. They're all right there. I see them.
Oh yeah.
And that was my wake up that, you need to listen to what is coming from inside of you, because I think we've said this before. My belief is, what the answer is. You may not want to accept what the answer is.
It can be tough. Yeah.
If you heard it, or you felt it, it's coming from you. It's trying to say, hey, you're doing all this other stuff, but that's not right. I'm trying to tell you something. It's you, it's me, it's your inner voice talking, and we ignore it. Why? Right back to what we started talking about. We get analytical. We want that control. We just feel it's a safer way to go. Usually not, though. It's usually not.
Yeah, but the only things you have control of are your thoughts and your actions. Outside of that, you have no control of anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. But we constantly try to control things that we have no control over, and it's that, creating that expectation, like say your 401k or whatever your retirement account is just took a huge dive and you're disappointed. Well, did you have any control over that?
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You had nothing to do with that. All you were doing was putting your money into it, and then it lost a bunch or whatever.
And then now you flip it around, and I'm not an investor. Yeah, I have some investments, but whatever. Then you have the faith. Well, it always goes like this. Guess what? It will come back.
It comes back.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's how things just work. There's ups and downs and everything, but you just got to trust that it's all going to work out for your benefit. It is. Everything is. It's just perspective and point of view and where you're at, just in your moment, living in the moment and accepting things for what they are,
Let's say you are somebody that does that. You're getting better at trusting it and not letting others control you. You controlling the way you react to others, because you can't. Somebody did you wrong, and you're like, years go by. I'm like, send a text. And I'm like, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It feels good in the moment.
You're only hurting yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. You're bringing negativity to you because of what they did. Not condoning what they did, could be horrific, but they don't care. They've already moved on. So you're wasting your energy in whatever however you're addressing it. But let's say you've gotten to that point where you're more trusting of the universe, your intuition and all that, and then you have a bad day. You have a couple. You're just in a slide. You're just like, I can't. What would you suggest somebody do? Is it just press the pause button, go take a walk in nature, clear your head, meditate? What would it be?
Yes, it is exactly those things. It's taking some time for yourself and stepping away from the situation and then just redirecting, into yourself, actually, taking care of yourself, because all the answers come like when you do need some space, when you're in solitude, when you're pouring into yourself, your answers come that you need to let go of this, or you need to do that, or whatever. Trust your intuition. And if you've been in the practice of it, like I mentioned before, you'll know, you'll know immediately that you need to step away from the situation and take a little bit of time for yourself. Go take a walk, whatever, you know.
Hmm.
And like that's just how it works, man. It really
Yeah.
is.
It's interesting when people say in relationships, I need some time. I need to take a little break and a little time. It sounds horrible to the other
Mhm.
person, but that's what you're doing. You're taking time to reflect within yourself and maybe get some answers about other things. But when all this is going on around you and you're getting flustered and
Mhm.
just freaked out, anxiety and all, you can't think clearly about what you're trying to accomplish.
No, it's very difficult to do that. That's going back to the control and actually letting that, as you mentioned in a relationship, if somebody needs time, some space apart, like that is, if you're trying to control that situation, that is actually you not loving them. You need to let, if you know what I mean, if you're in love with somebody, you got to let them go experience what they need to experience and take the time,
Mm.
you know, because you're not trusting the entire situation if that's the case. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And actually, you trying to control that situation is also not loving yourself because you're not trusting that things are going to work out for what in whatever way that they're supposed to work out. If that person makes a decision to leave or whatever, you just got to be okay with that, you know, because rejection is protection, like maybe that person's not for you.
Time to write that one down.
Yeah.
Rejection is perfection. Yeah, same thing with a job. You get released from a job, you got rejected. Well, guess what? Thank you. Thank
Hmm.
you for that because that'll move you to the next
Absolutely.
plateau. And that'll
Every
and
time I,
be better.
yeah, yeah. Every time I was moved on from a job, I've never been fired, but like I knew it was time to move on. It was always up. It was always up, you know.
Yep.
But I knew it was time to leave a certain situation in the past, and it was just like, okay, you know, it'll all work out. And then what I did, I was more of a religious background at the time. I remember like things weren't working well at the job that I was at, and all I did, I prayed. I was like, hey, I'm going to apply for these two jobs. What can I please have both of them so I can make my decision? Within 5 days, I got both of the jobs.
Wow.
You know.
You brought a memory to me. My mom always used to say, "It'll all work out." And of course,
Mhm.
and if you're not coming from a place of, I don't want to say spiritualism, but because I don't want to freak people out, but that's what it is.
Mhm.
Centered. You haven't trusted your gut and all of that. It's
Mhm.
hard to believe that when you say, it'll all work out. Um, how do you interpret signs that, because I'm a believer in that the universe will throw you signs that
Mhm.
you need to look at to pilot yourself. You can ask for those signs as well. How do you trust all of this? If somebody's coming from those two guys are woo woo,
Yeah.
how do you do
Yeah.
that?
Well, I'm sure whoever would hear this, has had experiences of some sort, like seeing angel numbers consistently, something being repetitive in their life for a period of time, like constant animals showing up for some reason or whatever, some person entering their life that, you know, they needed help from that person in that moment. They needed some guidance. They needed whatever. That person showed up, you know. Um, but it's being in the place to recognize it is the thing. And that's, when you this goes back to the analytical mind, right? Like if you're not there to recognize it and you're still trying to control everything, you're the likelihood that you're going to recognize it is less, you know,
Hmm.
than, you know, than because you're still got these blinders on, if you will, right? And you're still driving in a certain direction,
Yeah.
swimming upstream, really, which is much easier just to go with the flow. And that's coming from your heart, you know. So
And that's trusting. That's
that's
trusting,
trusting.
if you're in the
Yeah.
river, that you're going to let the river take you where it needs to. And if you're going to make some, course adjustments, if I might have to grab some, there's a little tiny island. I'm going to grab that for a second for whatever the reason is.
Mhm.
There's a song that came out in the '70s, not a big hit, but it was from a group that had lots of hits, the band America. And there's a song called "Don't Cross the River Unless You Can Swim the Tide." So
Yeah.
why are you fighting it? Why are you fighting it? Just let it take you. Um, do you believe, Judd, that the signs that we get, if you don't listen to them, you're going to get another one. The universe is trying to push you in a certain direction because it's the best one for you.
Absolutely.
The river, the current is
Yeah.
taking you, but now you're fighting it. Well, eventually you're going to have another situation where, if you
Mhm.
just get on your back and just float, there's going to be some turbulence in the water ahead because you
Mhm.
tried to fight it and go the other way. Do you feel
Mhm.
that way?
Absolutely. I think that everything is put in your path for a reason. You
Mm,
know, it's you get to decide what you're going to do with it. What are you going to recognize? What are you going to learn from? You know,
mm,
and it's nothing is a coincidence that actually happens. Absolutely nothing. It's all the universe working for you. Nothing is happening to you. It's happening for you. And when you are able to look at things from that standpoint, from a learning lesson, at all times, you always have the opportunity to learn. Then it lets you let go of that analytical thought. You know, more so. You can still have analytical thought. Like I said, it's got to be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. There's got to be balance in there. Otherwise we can't always live in the clouds. We still do live in this reality right
yeah.
now. But I'm just saying, like it's just yes, everything happens for a reason. Everything is presented to you for a reason. And it's just being open to that.
Are we here to learn?
Learn, teach, and guide. Absolutely. That's what we're here for. We're here to serve each other. You know, that's what I was talking about telling my story. It's teaching someone that they can get through a lot, what no matter their circumstance, doesn't matter what's happened to you. Like if you tell your story that you're teaching someone that like, hey, like things are possible, anything is possible. I can get through this. Listen to what happened to this person or that person or that person. That's teaching.
And you've
So,
shared before you had some challenges, and
mhm.
you know there could have been moments where it was in your mind insurmountable odds, like how am I going to get past this? How is this going to even happen?
Yeah,
And you did, and you're here
yeah.
and
It's about
stronger.
believing in, oh my gosh, yes. It's about believing in yourself, seriously, that anything is possible because you are the universe. Your subconscious thought creates everything that exists around
Hmm.
you. You know.
It's the sign, and we learn from others. So I learned from you in your journey. The signs.
Mhm.
I want to share one that I got recently, and you can't make this stuff up. And
Okay.
it's everything will work out. I referenced my mom. She passed 5 years ago, and she sent me a sign. Like I asked her, Mom, send me a sign. Let me know. Check in. How we doing?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I got a new modem here in my studio, and they just deliver it, and they got a random sticker on it, whatever. Generate a password. So, like literally under the desk, I lift it up, look at the password. There's 4 numbers dash Rose dash 2 numbers. Rose is her name. I was like, oh, thanks, Mom. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
What do the numbers mean? So I'm looking, trying to figure out the numbers, and they always come back to 7 and 11. 7 and 11. Add them up, move them around. The last 2 numbers, I have the password on the wall. Last 2 numbers are 5 2. Added up, 7. Like, what's going on? Couldn't figure it out. I mentioned it to my daughter, who's 15, and she's like, Dad, maybe it's something with your father. Father passed when I was 21, dropped from a heart attack. I didn't really have a great relationship with him.
Mhm.
My parents got divorced when I was very young. I was like, let me think about that. He passed. I thought about it. He passed on 7/11. He was
Yeah.
born on 3/4, added up.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I took that as a sign from my mom saying, make an appointment. So I made an appointment with a cardiologist, and I go last week, and they found some things that I need to address. So I wasn't paying attention to it. Should address it. Um, Here's the cherry on top of the story. I walk in, the lady standing there at the intake. First person I see. I don't even know this doctor. First person I see. She's got a shirt on. Her name, Rose.
Rose. Oh yeah.
Can't make that up. Like it's
No.
like
No. All that
it's,
synchronicity. Yeah.
it's like, mom's waiting for me. All right. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I took your advice. But I share that just because I believe the signs are there, but you need to again trust that they are. Because the universe or others or whatever you want to believe are there for your best your best good and pushing you in those
Oh, yeah.
directions. But we don't see them, and understandably so. We're all crazy. We got tons of stuff going on. You know, it's you
Yeah.
need to sit with yourself and listen to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You can't control anything outside of yourself, and you're trusting the signs and noticing them in that, and everything is how great is that, you
I'm
know?
not looking for it. I'm
And you're not
skeptical.
looking. No. Yeah.
I'm not looking like some people will say, well, a butterfly went by and that's my dad. All right, well, great. If you want to believe that, wonderful. I'm not that. Like, I need concrete. Like when I see my mom's name on a password that was randomly generated or a woman's shirt. And there's other times my daughter had a major issue a few years ago, was in the hospital. Long story short, we didn't know if she was going to get a room at that time. What was her doctor's name? My mom's first and last name. Can't make that up.
Really?
That's the doctor they assigned. First and last name, her maiden name. Can't make that up.
Can't make that up.
So I choose to believe these things are happening for a reason. Her Rose is not a very common name, you know.
Right.
But you know, whatever you want to believe, and whether you believe that there's a God that's piloting you, that's fine too. You know, if that's part of your spiritualism. But I think we all need to get maybe a little bit more spiritual and more connected with ourselves, because a lot of us aren't, and
a lot of us aren't. Yeah,
maybe struggling too. But that's where you come in to help people with that, and realize these things and coach them along the journey. And it is a relationship. Maybe it's not right for them. Maybe they're not right for you, but you'll know, you know, when somebody takes the first step and reaches out. How do they do that?
Well, you can contact me through my website, which is spiritualpathcoaching.com. And my email is jfink@spiritualpathcoaching.com. Or you can call me at 309-431-1706, or contact me through Instagram. It's Judd_Fink. Yeah. Follow me on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube with my podcast and stuff that I put out, Spiritual AF. And it's just under my name, Judd Fink, on YouTube. Cool. As well.
Did I hear that right? Spiritual AF?
You did.
For the win. For the win.
Yeah. Yeah. That is the podcast.
That's awesome. Yeah. That says it all, because that's in my journey going from probably where you were all the way over here, where this other, you know, spiritual stuff, the universe supporting us, you know, the intuition, all of that. I wasn't. I didn't. It's not that I didn't believe in it, but I wasn't ready for it, and it showed up. You know. So
yeah.
I don't know if I'm spiritual AF yet, but it's the journey. It's on the journey. Judd, great talking with you, and all more reason. Don't be logical. Don't be analytical. You know, look, there's more out there for all of us.
Right? Absolutely. Everything happens for a reason. Just don't try to control it.
There you go. Excellent. All right. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's It's going to be okay.